It's put me in a relationship with Python where I think of Python as my friend. In other words, as a tool, the way that I think of writing English prose. In other words, I know that there's stuff that I don't know, and I don't find it mysterious. My name is Blaise Pabon, and I am currently product manager. For many years, I was a sales engineer. I don't have a formal degree in computer science. I did take computer science classes in college. In those days, the discipline was much less mature, so a lot of the programming languages were somewhat abstract and experimental. So for all intents and purposes, I'm self-taught. Before I found out about Real Python, I found the materials that were available to be very disparate and very inconsistent with each other in terms of the approaches that they took, the conventions and standards and style, and also the assumptions that they would make about how familiar someone was with the language to begin with. So Real Python is the name that's associated with a number of resources that are coordinated by a group of people. Editorial standards are very well communicated and very well established. So what I as a user encounter, or what you might encounter as a user, is a series of educational tutorials, web pages, and then also a series of videos, tutorials, where you're introduced to very practical solutions using Python. During one of the videos, or actually it might have been one of the web pages, a tutorial, which was stepping through in a very progressive way the various approaches that one can take for formatting and printing strings in Python. By the time I was done, it was super clear to me that there were three fundamentally different ways to approach it, and that each method belonged, if you will, to a particular generation of Python development. It may seem like a very small detail in some respects, but immediately it made it clear to me that I could associate a particular method with a generation of development. And so as soon as I saw that idiom, that syntax, I could say, I could infer that the rest of the code probably was written during a particular time. If I had a doubt about how to approach some aspect of the Python language, before Real Python, I would simply do a Google search or Stack Overflow search, and then reiterate that search a number of times and compare the results and try to come up with some average of right answers. With Real Python, I have much higher confidence that I can do the search once and get a useful answer on the first go. By quality, I would say that there is a particular attention to detail. I can be confident that as I progress, that I won't end up in some strange dead end. But yes, I would recommend Real Python to anyone who has a need or a desire to become more proficient and more comfortable with Python. I would recommend it for both people who have kind of a casual daily connection with Python. If your goal is to reach some level of general competence in a series of topics, then you can go ahead and approach Real Python as a sequence of lessons.